Whenever you sign up for anything, you're probably asked for your name, or at least a name. And there's a box for first name and a box for last name, and you're probably perfectly content with this, and it makes me cry a little on the inside because I don't have a last name. If you're designing a website or a form or anything and you ask for first and last name, you shouldn't do that because I don't have one. And what the fuck am I gonna put in there? Actually, I'll tell you what I put in there. I put a fucking hyphen in there. So the name of this video is not technically true because there's no such legal concept of a first name or a last name. You have a name, and most people have a polynym. Their name is 2 parts or 3 parts or 4 parts or whatever. And typically we only care about the first part, the first name, which is typically your given name, some name that your parents just made up. And your last name is typically your surname, which is a name that is mechanically derived based on your culture. In America, you just kind of take the last name of your father's side and it just comes down. Sometimes your mother's side, but it just passes on. In some countries, it works differently. In many cultures, your last name is your occupation or your father's first name and son or daughter, like Erickson, Fredrickson. And then sometimes you have names in the middle. You have a middle name, or you have an initial, you have a confirmation name, or you have whatever the fuck you have based on your religion, culture, whatever. But most people fit into the category where they have a first name and a last name. And I do too, except it's the same word because I only have one name, and that's called a mononym. Do you know Cher, the singer? Her last name's not Bono, she's not still married to Sonny, he died. But regardless, she changed her name to Cher. It's just Cher, there's no other name, it's Cher, she's a mononym. China, the wrestler, Mitch Maddox was briefly legally named .com guy. Teller, you know Teller, Penn and Teller, mononym. I believe there was even a lawsuit that Teller initiated or was a defendant in which case he was, in the court papers it reads Teller, comma, an individual. One of the biggest questions I get is that when I go online or I fill out a form, what do I do? And, well, it's simple. Usually I put my name in the last name column because last name is typically more significant. In most cases, you're sorting by last name or they look you up by last name. So I usually put my name in the last name spot, and the first name, I start with hyphen. If hyphen doesn't work, I try triple hyphen because sometimes you need more than one character. If hyphen doesn't work, then I try an ASCII non-breaking space, which is ASCII decimal 160, alt 0160. If that or a combination of that doesn't work, then I either, honestly it depends. If it's something that I know is going to be displayed somewhere, like a badge or on an ID card, then I'll probably either just put my initial there or the letters NFN, no first name. If I really don't care, I'll just put my name twice in the first and last name, which is technically the most technically correct thing to do because it is my first and my last name. So that's what I do. A lot of mononymous people like to just stop and call the company and freak out. And that's what I did when I first changed my name, and I didn't like that a lot of places wouldn't take it. And some of them I got to change, but it's not worth the cycles. It's just really not worth the cycles. It's a much better effort to spend your time evangelizing it and making people aware of the fact that it's possible so that more people do it, and then change will come as a larger percentage of the population has ridiculous names and names without spaces and names without consonants and names without letters.
The biggest problem that I have is that my employer uses the acronym FNU, first name unavailable, as my first name, and it likes to trickle down into things that I do at work, systems where I interact with people, and they see it and they're like, oh, hi FNU, and I have to explain to them that that's not really my name, and it's embarrassing for them. And it's embarrassing for me, and it's embarrassing for them, and it's one of the things in corporate culture that I have to fight. Because a truly internationalized company should be able to handle that. If you can handle weird accent marks, right to left names, you should be able to handle a name that doesn't have a space in it. I mean, I'm sorry. This is... What if I was born that way? What if I was in the part of the world where people are just born with a single name? I would be so offended. I would be so offended. But I'm not, because I don't get offended. Certainly not over things that I subject myself to. I'm sorry, I think people do that on the internet. They get offended over things that they've subjected themselves to. That just ain't right. Just ain't right.
just ain't right. Just.
So you might be saying, well, how can you have a name? What can your name be? I didn't know you could do that. There's a lot of countries and cultures where that's just the case. It's complicated. It's really fucking complicated. It's so complicated that Tom Scott should and has talked about it. I changed my name about 5 years ago, and it was relatively easy. You have to take out an article in the paper twice. You have to publish a legal notice that you intend to change your name and that you have changed your name. Most name changes, at least in New Jersey, are granted by mail, and you don't usually have to appear before a judge to change your name. In my case, they did request that I appear before a judge. The judge asked me why I wanted to change my name to a single name, and I told them, number one, already my name in common usage, number two, I had already changed it in most of my matters, and number three, I wanted my ID to reflect the name that I used everywhere else, and she signed that, she granted it, there was a gavel, she went it was literally like Law and Order, that the sound played, and then from then on, I did not have a last name. I got a new social security card. It has just my name. I got a new birth certificate. I didn't ask for it, but the state sent me a brand new birth certificate. And again, my name is so short, my legal name is so fucking short that it's like, it's so disconcerting. It's almost like they printed blank. Like, if someone wanted to forge birth certificates, they should grab a copy of mine from the public records, because I probably have the shortest name on record in the state of New Jersey. In fact, I know that I have the shortest legal name on record in the state of New Jersey. I don't have to guess. I'm almost positive. If someone from the Bureau of Public Records is watching, they should probably contact me. Okay, so who honors my mononym? Amazon obviously only asked for one name, so they obviously honor it. Comcast, I didn't need to show any proof. I literally had a message. I literally had a chat with their customer support. I think I had to have 3 different chats, but they just changed my first name to blank. My electric bill also just has nothing in my first name. They, I think, wanted to see the name change though, and that's fine. My bank and all of my credit cards had no problem with it. American Express and Capital One were both very straightforward. I just sent them the name change information and they issued me a card that just has my one name. Capital One is happy to print whatever you want onto the card. The mag strip still reflects your legal name. If you want your card to say Gigolo Johnny with no space, I guarantee they will issue you a new card for some $35 fee that says Gigolo Johnny with no space. In fact, I would wager that Capital One would probably put numbers in your name if you wanted. Chase also didn't give me a problem through mail, but their in-branch instant issue card machines, I crashed it. There was a 500 internal server error and they couldn't take my card at the branch office. I wonder if that's fixed though, because I need a new one. What's printed on the card is not necessarily what's printed on the mag strip. And also, I guess now in the chip, because there's the chip. So I'm at Target in Fairfield, New Jersey, and I'm happy to report that they changed the sound that the pin pads make. Instead of going burp, 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 they now make this ridiculous music box tinkling sound. So tell your friends. I won't go into details about my job, but part of it is software engineering, and I maintain Microsoft contracts. And on Microsoft contracts, my first name is just the word Mr. And I think that's probably one of the most elegant ways that I've seen a company deal with it that I like. And it was actually one of the options that the government gave me, that the state of New Jersey gave me for my driver's license. See, the Motor Vehicles Commission could not put a blank first name or a last name on my license. They just could not. The software wouldn't allow it, and they didn't know what the fuck to do. I walked in there with my name change, and they shit bricks, and the supervisor had to call Trenton and get back to me months later. What wound up happening was initially they put my name twice, which I don't like because that's not my name and I paid a lot of money to change my name, and fuck you, give me my actual legal name. And so I called Chris Christie, literally. I contacted the governor. The governor, say what you will about Chris Christie, please say what you will in the comments, I want to see it. But he was open to citizens contacting his office for pretty much complaints about anything, and he did look into them. And I did complain that I couldn't get my legal name on my license. And one day I got a call from the Commissioner of Motor Vehicles in Trenton, and he is like, look, The computer needs something, so we'll let you decide, you know, if you want to put your first initial, if you want to put the word Mr. In New Jersey, your last name shows up first, and your first name shows up smaller and under it. So Mr. doesn't really look that good in that context. I know for a fact that Illinois can put a mononym on a license. I've seen one, and I'm relatively sure that California can. And if McLovin is anything to go by in Superbad, Hawaii too. But that was a fake. It was a pretty good looking fake though. But McLovin, I don't know. If you wanted to name your baby with a bunch of binary data, you could escape it, but you couldn't use base 64 because there's no legal precedent to have numbers and names. That is not doable. But you can have letters, spaces, hyphens. I will link below to a set of legal documents that help form the basis of precedent for what you can and cannot have in your name.
But what you'll find is that, yes, you can change your name to a mononym, you can change your name to as long of a polynym as you feel like. There are very, very, very long names. Obviously, they get shortened in real usage. You cannot have numbers. There's a precedent for courts denying numbers. You could probably name a kid Amazon.com, but changing your name to Amazon.com is not probably going to fly. If for some reason Amazon.com was your nickname for most of your childhood and you can show that you've been using it for most of your life, then yeah, you probably could be called Amazon.com. But if you just want to be called Amazon.com because of the popularity of Amazon.com, then you probably could not. You obviously can't change your name to escape debt, to purposely collide with and interfere with someone who already has that name. You can't do that. But Nill, Prince changed his name to a symbol. Not only that, a symbol that didn't even exist. Okay, let's start with that. I believe that Prince's lawyers filed a bunch of papers registering his name as probably his own trademark, probably a known name. They probably they may have registered it as a legal alias. They may have registered it as a legal synonym of his identity. They may have filed intents to change his name to that symbol. They may have filed notices of intents to change his name to that symbol. They may have even changed his name. They may have changed his name to something other than Prince. He was born Prince Rogers Nelson, and I do believe that he legally disavowed the name for commercial reasons. What I don't believe, and what I would love to see, is that there's a legal document, a social security card, a birth certificate, or a driver's license where that symbol is there. I was tickled as a child to see that MTV put it in the chyron at the beginning of his videos as his name. I was tickled to see that newspaper articles would print it as a special character when referring to him. But after my experience and what I know now and what I've tried to do and what I've tried to do and failed, I know that that was not on his license. Maybe in California, honestly. Well, no, he's from Minnesota. No way. I could see maybe Oregon. Maybe Oregon being so liberal to allow that. If you were that famous. If you were that famous and you paid for it. Maybe. But the way the government works, the shit that runs shit, the mainframes that have to be dealt with, there's no fucking way. I'm happy in that my legal name is a very common word, and searching it does not typically return me. And that's a good thing. That's one of the reasons why you should change your name. You can always make it less specific. Change your name to the word the, and I guarantee you won't be searchable. And I think that's a trend that you'll see, is why do I even need a name? Just give me some number. Just give me some unique number per service. I don't want to be tied together. I don't want to be a single, homogeneous, logical entity or individual. I want you, person. I want every friend, every family member, and every service to assign me a unique name that they know me by. That would be the ultimate anonymity. That would be anonymous. Anonymous is not anonymous. The word anonymous is a name. That's anonymous.
Why would you want to change your name to that if it's so fucking difficult? If everyone has a problem registering you or pronouncing it or figuring out whether it's your fucking real name, your first name, or your last name, or whatever, why would you ever want to do that? Because to fuck with people, to break assumptions, of course. Jesus Christ, if you could, why wouldn't you? I'm sure you remember discovering that you can have hyphens as a domain name and trying to register --. I'm sure you remember trying to figure out how long or how short your AOL AIM screen name could be, or, you know, what Twitter handle you could get, or what the shortest fucking Telegram handle you could find was. I'm sure everyone does that. Everyone explores boundaries. How long can an IRC nickname be? What characters can be in it? Why do variable names in C have to begin with a letter but not a number? Why can domain names not have an underscore but they can have a hyphen? And for the few people that actually do have birth-given awesome names that they actually like, or maybe that they don't like but they haven't changed away from, I applaud you. Most people that have awesome names have had to do it themselves. I think if I ever had children, I would give give them a free name change as part of their 10th or 16th or whatever birthday, whenever they decide that they know who they are and they want to decide their name. I don't think it's right to give people names out of the box. Whatever name you give people is going to be temporary. So Half as Interesting just did a video called What's in a Name? Actually, that's not what it's called, but it's a video about names, and names are a self-fulfilling prophecy. What you name a child impacts how successful they are, etc. It certainly impacts decisions in their life. You should check out that video. It gives all the more reasons why you shouldn't give children permanent names. They should be able to change them because they may not fit the mold that society puts in for them. And you might want to give them an awesome, unique name, and that's awesome too, but society will treat them differently because they're unique. And you need to be able to handle that. And handling what society gives you is one thing if you're me and you're doing it on purpose, but if you're naming your child something retarded and they don't have a choice in it when they grow up, well, that's emotional baggage. So no matter what I name my child, I would definitely make sure that they can change it as soon as they want to. You may not think that way, that's fine. I live in a Microsoft world where everything can be right-clicked and renamed. I live in the Active Directory LDAP standard where renaming long-term names is perfectly fine because everything has a GUID. And I'll be sure that when I have a child, I make up a GUID for them and register it as a legal alias, and then let them change their primary name to whatever the fuck they want. Baby.